Kia ora and welcome to Mind Your Buzzness, episode number 14. Now, this particular episode is going to be made over a week. Now, you're not going to notice, but all good things take time. Because today I'm going to jump onto the hive, I'm going to check the honey super that's on there at the moment, the one that I've left on there for them to finish filling out, see if it's ready to go, and if it is, I'll put an escape board under it so the bees can exit over a few days and I'll come back and take it off. But what I will actually do today, though, is underneath that existing super, I'm going to put the other one on, this one, which is the one that I harvested in the previous episode. So this is going to go back on so the bees can clean it up and start doing again what they need to do. So another beautiful day here in Canterbury, New Zealand, but it's definitely starting to feel like autumn. The sun is getting lower in the sky, getting days with hardly any clouds in the sky, but the temperature's a little bit lower. And this is it. This is the time of year now where we start to sort of pull back on the checks. But did you know that not only do I have this channel, Mind Your Buzzness with Andy G, I actually do run a podcast as well, which is generally a 2-week catch-up with my best mate, who's over 1,000 k's away, and quite often I talk about my beekeeping endeavours. Right, mate. So, bee update, and I like to drop in a wee beekeeping update every now and again. And well, I've just harvested some honey.
Is it any good?
It is fantastic. I got to say,
there we go.
Yeah. It is
best honey ever made.
Well, this is it. It is the best honey ever made. Even my wife said to me, she goes, "Well, honey's honey," and I said, "Hang on, it's my honey." And she's like, "Oh yeah, fair play." But anyway, yeah. So I harvested, and I'll just quickly
explain. Made with love.
Yeah, exactly. It is made with love, and I'll explain it very quickly. So I've got what I call a honey super on my hive. And that super is one of the boxes, one of the layers that you will see on a beehive if you ever see one. And in there's 8 to 10 frames, and the frames are where the bees build their honeycomb and store their honey, their pollen, their nectar. And basically my bees have filled one of those boxes with honey, and I got 16 kilos out of that
Holy
one box. Yeah, 16 kilos, and I've still got one more of these boxes on my hive to harvest yet.
Yep.
So what I managed to get out of that was 40 250ml jars, 300ml jars, you know, like the jars you get your bolognese sauce in,
yeah, and
a 1 litre jar as well. So I managed to fill all of those with honey, and it's a sight. What I can do, actually, I'll just...
You're going to be sick of honey by the end of this.
Well, here's the thing, though. There's so many rules and regulations around it, and it's not actually worth it for me as a hobbyist beekeeper to register myself to be able to sell my honey legally, because it's an MPI thing.
Yeah.
So I just can't. I'm just going to have to give it away. But here's the thing, and I can't barter it either, so I've literally got to give my honey away, which is fine. I mean, I'm doing it for fun. I find you a quick photo. I'm going to show you it on my phone. Podcasts listeners, of course, you're not going to see this, but I will post it on the Tradio Facebook page. But there is all my honey in the jars.
Geez, Winnie the Pooh would be happy, wouldn't he?
He'd be absolutely stoked. Yeah, so there you go. Lots of honey, and I'm not sick of it yet. I'm limiting myself. The good thing is that honey has a really good shelf life, right? So it's going to last a long time. Especially,
they reckon that, you know, when they opened one of the pharaoh's tombs in Egypt, there was a jar of honey in there that was like 5,000 years old or something ridiculous like that, and they reckon it was still good to eat.
Yeah, insane. I don't think it actually ever does go off. But yeah, mighty thankful to my bees. Just amazing. Apparently, one bee makes a teaspoon of honey, so... If you think about it, I've got 16 kilos. That's a hell of a lot of work from a hell of a lot of bees.
Is that all they make in their lifetime?
Yeah, a teaspoon of honey in their lifetime, apparently. But to get 16 kilos out of one box, and I still have one pending.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot more honey to come. So I'm just like, holy crap, I'm going to buy some more jars because what I've got is an insane amount.
I had a funny run-in with bees. Yeah, well, not funny, but the other day I went up on my e-bike up the local forest here to do some track clearing. And there's quite a few beehives up there. The beehive guys must put the boxes all up through the forest. I don't know why. They must get honey off the pine trees or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be manuka or carnuka or...
Yeah, something up there. But they went up and they collected some of the hives the other day, and I just happened to be up there and I saw them doing it. And I went past them down another way and kept out of it. But when I got back down to my car, they must have driven back out to the gate and then left. But a swarm followed them, or some got out of the hive, and I got back to my car, and my car was just fucking big swarm of bees around today, and I was like, oh no.
Really?
So I had to kind of get in there and get my bike back on the rack, and I'm trying not to get stung. Fucking bees were everywhere.
Well, the question is, were you successful? Did you manage to get your bike?
I did. Yeah? I managed to get the bike on and chuck my gear in the car and quickly jump in the car. Yeah, well, and I looked out the window. Bloody bees everywhere over the car.
Yeah, well, they're quite placid creatures if you just sort of let them be, for use of a better word.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're generally not after you unless you piss them off or try and take something that's theirs.
Like honey.
Or honey. I'll get all up in their face, you know. But no, I'm glad you didn't get stung, mate, because, I mean, let's just say I've been stung twice in one go, which happened about, 4 or 5 weeks into my beekeeping journey. And even though it wasn't that sore, that's enough. I'd rather not get stung by 100 of them, you know?
No, that's right.
Yeah. Congrats, mate. That's your first experience with bees. Maybe you want to get yourself a suit and a hive, and I can teach you a few things.
Beekeeping. Actually, my grandfather used to be a beekeeper, for a long time.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying.
Kind of like a pastime hobby, but it was like a hobby where he actually sold the honey and made money. So he had shitloads of hives. Down at my grandfather's old place, my auntie lives there now. She brought the house, and in the garage out the back, there's still jars of honey from the 1980s sitting on the shelf.
Really?
Like big glass jars like this, must be like 1 litre jars.
Wow.
It's still sitting there.
Oh, well, as we know, that 3,000-year-old, 5,000-year-old honey found in the Pharaoh's tomb, that honey at your granddad's or your place is actually going to taste pretty damn good, I reckon.
I should go and get it. Is it like wine? Does it age and get better with time? Or
I don't know if it does or not.
You take the lid off and go, shh. That's a good year.
I think if you take the lid off and it makes a hissing sound, you probably shouldn't consume it.
You probably shouldn't eat that one.
Might be a little bit sour. Yeah. But anyway, mate, nice. Yeah. Well, let me know if you want to get into beekeeping. Could teach you a couple of things.
Yeah, might need some instructions.
I was just thinking, actually, let me backtrack. Don't learn anything off me, mate. I'll just teach you bad habits. So. Righto, so let's give that existing super a check. It's been over a week now since I last had a look at it. So with any luck now, they've filled out any gaps, because there were a few. They're keeping themselves pretty busy. Still quite a few gaps on that one, and there's nothing in them. That's all good. Yeah, still a couple of gaps in that, but these are the frames that last time I checked and were completely, empty. A majority of them were empty. And they have filled a lot of them out. That frame still needs a fair bit of work. See, that one there was pretty empty last time I saw it, and they've capped most of it off, but there's still a few cells to go. Same with that side. And this one here, still pretty empty too. Might move this one into the middle. Shoot this one. It's looking pretty good. And then we got the emptier one, which will slot into the center. I'm not happy that this is ready yet. But if I put this this old super on, then it might detract from them working on this one. So what I'm going to do, leave it as it is, and I'll come back in another week. It's the way it is. Right, see you next week. It has been 10 days since the last time I was here, which is what I mentioned at the start of the video, that I was going to come back and check that super, so let's suit up and do it. Okay, so at first glance, it's looking pretty good. So we'll just check all these frames and just see what they've done in the 10 days since I've been here. So this frame's looking pretty good on this side, but on this side, there's not much going on there. But all in all, I'm happy with that one. Another good frame. Okay, so looking at this then, they've definitely done a lot in the last 10 days since I last looked at it. I'm sure there's a few frames that they're still busy working on. What I will do is I'll put the escape board on, I'll put the old super back on as well so they can clean that up, the one that we harvested recently. And I'll put the, like I say, the escape board under this one and then come back in a few days. Yeah, so a good bit of weight in that one. I had someone question me on one of my previous videos over this suit and if I got it from Temu. I didn't get it from Temu, but it was definitely a cheap acquirement, cheaply acquired. So very soon, I think maybe after winter, I will look to get the new one. Right, so here's the super that we have harvested. So we're going to put that back on so the bees can do a bit of a clean up. Okay, I'm happy with how that's sitting. So now leave it a couple of days, let these bees exit into the empty super that I've just put back on. And then we'll take some of these for harvest. Right, so it's been another 4 days now. So we'll check that this super has been evacuated. Hive tool might help. Right, hive tool acquired. Yeah, looks like the escape board has done its job. So we'll just get the super into the car and out of the way, and then I'll do a quick frame check and just see which ones are worth leaving behind. Ooh, yeah, a bit of weight in there. I tell you, these escape boards are actually worth their weight in gold. We've got a bit of comb we can scrape off here too. collect it all up for melting down. Lovely. We'll do another wax rendering video soon. Okay, we can take this board off now. And we can see that the frames that I emptied out last time have actually been cleaned up really well. Yeah, look at that. They have cleaned up these to dry. That's awesome. And they're already starting to fill them out again with nectar. Yeah, brilliant. I don't need to check them all. Right, so I'll get the lid back on and leave them to it for a bit and just go and have a look at the super that I've just taken off and see if it's worth leaving any frames behind. Righto, so let's have a wee look at this super and just see how it's generally looking and if it's worth leaving any of the frames behind. Oh, hello. So not a lot's been done there, which is understandable, it's the outside, but there's quite a bit on there. So, yeah. And there's still, I haven't actually videoed this, but there's still lots of honey inside the brood boxes, so there's heaps of them to get through winter at this stage, but I'll probably look at feeding them too. That's a beautiful frame, that one. That will be fine. It's quite a heavy one. That's an okay one too. Yep, fair play. To be fair, all in all, I'll be pretty happy to harvest that, because then it can go back on there again for them, just to clean up, and then we'll get them ready for sort of autumn, winter. So that's the second super from this season that's now off the hive, so the next video will be the harvest from that. I can't expect to get much more than the other super, because this one's not quite as filled out. But as I mentioned, the brood boxes themselves have still got lots of honey in there, plus I do plan to feed the bees throughout sort of autumn, winter, and in a future episode as well, we'll be doing some treatments as well for Varroa, just to make sure that they're all good and safe for the oncoming season. So yeah, it's exciting. I mean, every time I check this hive, it's a new experience, because I'm only into like my 4th month or 5th month now of beekeeping, so it's been really, really enjoyable, and I hope you've been following the journey as well and you've been enjoying what I've been doing, or hopefully learning something as well. But I'm also open to a lot of feedback too. But anyway, that is it for this episode. The next one will just be solely the harvest of that super, and then following that, then we'll probably do another brood box check. In the forecast, there's another few nice days ahead, so we'll probably wait for one of those hot days and do that brood box check. But anyway, stand by for the next episode, which is that super being harvested. Looking forward to it, to see how much we can get out of that one. I'll leave you with this, and thanks for watching. Mind your Buzzness, by the way. Why do the bees like to stay in their hive during winter? Swarm. See ya.